Adding camera movement to your projects can significantly enhance production value, connect with viewers on an emotional level, and make your story more engaging. However, when done poorly or without a purpose, camera movement can disengage viewers and make your project look unprofessional. To create high-quality shots, your camera movement must be deliberate and well thought out, not something added as an afterthought. Great camera movement isn't just about having the right tool, it's about knowing how and when to use them. Without intention and understanding, even the smoothest camera moves can at best distract your audience from the story and at worst make your shot look very unprofessional. Camera movement falls into two categories: motivated movement and unmotivated movement. Motivated movement is when the action on screen forces the camera to move. So for example, the camera follows a character as they walk down a hallway or tracks an object in motion. Without moving the camera, the viewers wouldn't see the action. Motivated movement feels natural because it's tied directly to what's happening in the scene. Unmotivated movement happens when the camera moves without a direct trigger from the action. While this might sound unnecessary, unmotivated camera movement can be a powerful tool when used with purpose. It can reveal context, shift focus, or create an emotional response, such as building tension or showing a sense of scale. Unmotivated movement is where your creativity can really shine. But every camera movement, whether motivated or unmotivated, should have a purpose. Now, this shot is a commercial I shot for a restaurant, and unfortunately, I failed miserably in asking myself what the purpose of this move was. And the shot is fine, it looks great, it's framed right, lighting is good, but as you'll see, there is no end goal. There is no planning as far as why is this camera moving, what is it gonna do at the end. And as the plate comes in, everything looks great. I love the shot, it's great. We have foreground element, which is important. Like when you move a camera, you still use the same composition techniques of creating depth. And so I use those elements in the foreground here to create that depth, and that's fine. But really the shot should have either stopped a little bit before this, maybe somewhere, kind of here where the plate is kind of nicely framed. We can still have those foreground elements to the side. That would have been a good way to end. But as I look at this shot, you'll see that the camera continues to pass those elements. And really, maybe the best shot here would have been to have a second plate laid on the table right here. And I could have continued to move and frame that second plate with a person sitting there. And so now you're showing your viewers the plate coming in, but you're creating kind of like a little surprise because the camera continues to move and then lands on a second plate that's set to the side. So it's just a bummer. This shot could have been a lot better with just a little bit of planning. So when moving a camera, you should always ask yourself these questions. 1, why is the camera moving? 2, what is the camera movement bringing to the story? Better yet, ask yourself, 1, what emotion am I trying to trigger in my viewers with this shot? And 2, what is the best way to achieve that emotional response? Camera movement is just one tool out of many you can use to generate a response. Think about framing, lighting, sound, and music. All those play a factor into how your viewers respond. The key is to be intentional about everything you do when capturing an image, including camera movement. Don't fall into the trap of moving the camera simply because you have the gimbal and you haven't used it in a little while. Regardless of what category the movement falls into, the camera should move in a natural way. The movement should be logical. It should flow seamlessly with the action or fit naturally within the story. It's invisible in the best way. Camera movement should not draw attention to itself. For example, a slow push in during an emotional moment draws the viewers closer to the character and deepening their connection to the scene. On the other hand, illogical movement stands out and feels awkward. It happens when the camera moves without a reason, or the camera movement itself is just weird and doesn't fit within the story. Illogical movement distracts the audience, pulling them out of the experience instead of pulling them in. Now, I've seen one instance of illogical movement used purposefully, and I would encourage you to research Martin Scorsese Taxi Driver. It's really humbling to listen to a master like Scorsese discuss how intentional he is with camera movement. In an early scene, a taxi comes around the corner into a garage, and as a viewer, you expect the camera to pan and follow the car into the parking space. But instead, Scorsese decides to pan the camera the other way. Now, the camera eventually reconnects with the cab pulling into the parking space at the end of the pan. It's an illogical way of moving the camera, but his intention was to create discomfort, leaving the viewers feeling like they just didn't know what to expect next. I also encourage you to listen to him discuss his hallway shot in Taxi Driver, another masterpiece of manipulating the audience through camera movement. Check out the link in the description to see those shots. Now finally, let's talk about execution. It's easy to think that fancy, complex movement are the hallmark of great filmmaking. But the truth is that simple, well-executed moves are a lot more powerful than complex, poorly executed ones. A shaky or poorly planned move can ruin an otherwise beautiful shot. I recently worked on a project where the director envisioned a very complex move using a jib that pushed the limits of the equipment. After a few takes, we had something usable, but we all knew that the execution wasn't great. We started brainstorming simpler way to achieve the emotion that the director wanted. We ended up doing a simple push down with the camera pointing straight down. With the right speed, it became a very powerful shot. It's a great example of prioritizing execution over complexity. If you can achieve both, that's great. If not, execution should always come first. Keep in mind that movement itself cannot make a shot great. It has to start with a well-composed, well-lit shot. Movement should enhance the emotion in the scene, not be the fallback to make up for poor fundamentals. When you move the camera as a cinematographer, you're inviting the audience to follow you. You're saying, "Come, follow me. I want to show you something." Well, that movement creates a promise, and it's your responsibility as a filmmaker to deliver on it. Every camera move should lead the viewer somewhere meaningful, whether it's revealing a critical detail, evoking an emotion, or deepening their connection to the story. If the movement lacks purpose, it risks breaking that promise and losing the audience's trust. By following these three principles, moving with purpose, staying logical, and keeping it simple, you'll create shots that captivate your audience and elevate your storytelling. Now, thank you for watching this video until the end, and as a token of my appreciation, I'd like to offer you my free camera setting cheat sheet. Just follow the link below to download your free cheat sheet. Thanks again, and happy filming.